Coach, if you begin with an opening statement about both Morgan and then the addition of Jalen.
I will, but after I wish Matt DeMarinis a happy birthday. And I was thinking, Matt, it's probably only the second or third time in your lifetime that Glenn's Cubs have had a better record on your birthday than your Yankees. 2016, and then maybe once in the O's. So, yeah. So that's why it's important to wish you happy birthday, because I know that other part of your. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll start with Jalen. As I look to my left and see her picture, and, you know, I think the last time she played in a game across the street, she had 43 points. I'd like to think that her impact as an assistant coach would be comparable to that, but that would probably be asking a lot of her. There probably will be a few nights where I might look over at the bench and ask her to put a uniform on. Yeah, first of all, I think it's great. Marcus Blossom and my sports supervisor, Lisa Chips, who's our SWA, I think fought to get the position approved. The NCAA has opened up the opportunity for 2 more coaches, on-floor coaches. So we now can have 6 total coaches on the floor. So, with Connie and Jalen on top of, Chevy, Jordan, Carly, I think that's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for Jalen to learn. And if she wants to get into coaching long term, I think this is a great place for her. But it's like I said, I'm really thankful and grateful to Marcus to make that position available, because I know that that's where things are trending. But I know that's in a year where things are maybe a little bit tighter budget wise. I think that's going to really help us. I think just getting the staff younger is Connie's going to turn a big number here in a few weeks, and Flan's not far behind her. So getting getting the staff younger and getting somebody who's eager to learn and work and can relate to players in a way that I certainly can't, I think will be really beneficial to the program. And then in regard to Morgan, just I think she's both excited and a little anxious. Morgan's a great student, so missing a week of class for her is more of a big deal than maybe for some who probably would look at it as a gift to be able to miss a week of school. But and the travel's tough. To get to Mongolia, is not the easiest thing, but it's a great opportunity. They're going to play 3 days with 3 of the teammates that she's had over the course of that. And my worry is that she will have played more in this off season with Villanova players than Creighton players. So when we play Villanova, she might be passing the ball to the wrong team. So we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. But any time you get a chance to put on the jersey of the country that you're from and compete at that level with those kind of stakes, it's great. Even though it's not 3-on-3 is not the same game, but it's close enough, and it's a competitive. It'll be a competitive situation, and I know she's looking forward to it, and we're real proud of her. When I stopped through the weight room yesterday, she was wearing a USA basketball shirt instead of a Creighton shirt, so she's getting into that mindset, and just excited for her to have that opportunity, and then we'll be without her for a little bit, which is okay, because it allows those younger players another kind of 10 days of growth without her.
In typical Flan fashion, this is the reason we put him on last, because his entire allotted time has just been used by his opening statement. Can we open the floor to questions?
I guess the NCAA approved the 2 additional coaches in January. When that happened, did you immediately kick the tires on who to add, and how did you narrow it down to Jalen, I guess?
Well, it just kind of happened. Not necessarily. I think Jalen's plan was probably to play overseas and get back in the WNBA if she could, but then she had a second knee injury and fell in love. So you just never know how that's going to play out. It's so tough to make a WNBA roster, and I think having that second knee injury really probably, hit her in terms of, okay, do I really want to rehab it and then go overseas and, because that's a different life too, to go over there. So I think, kind of after she kind of made that decision that was going to be it, then it became a little bit more evident that maybe we should try to look at bringing her back specifically. So we really targeted her. We didn't really, to be honest, it was a little bit less of an open search. I felt like she was the right person. And she's going to need to grow. I mean, it's not, she's never coached outside of a camp setting. So, but I think she's in a good situation. I think Connie will be really beneficial to her, and so will my other coaches. Yeah, I think it'll be a good two-way street.
When she played for you, did she express interest to become a coach? Down the road here.
Not necessarily. I never really got that vibe, but I think she, by the time she was finished, I thought, and she knew she was going to try to play. I think then you kind of think that maybe that next step after playing is coaching. But no, that wasn't something that I would have guessed if you'd have said 2 years into her career or 3 years into her career that she was going to land in coaching. And in some ways it's still a little exploratory. I mean, it's enough of an entry level position that I feel like it'll be, like I said, she's going to work hard and she's going to do a good job, but I think it'll help her decide if that's something that she wants to do long term.
You mentioned there wasn't much of a search involved, that that was who you wanted.
Yeah.
What about her characteristic wise? Obviously know what she does,
yeah,
on the court and everything, but off the court in terms of characteristics, what led you to believe, hey, this is somebody I really need to have on my staff?
Well, I think just the fact that it's been so recent since she was an elite player gives her an advantage, and not just an elite player, but an elite player in this program. So I feel like she'll benefit our team right away in terms of, okay, these are some things that I went through, that again, as my assistant coaches have gotten a little bit older, that's a little further removed. They're a little bit further removed from feeling that kind of pressure, and not just, like I said, being a good player, but Jalen was, by the time she left, she was an elite player. And so I think that can be beneficial. It can be beneficial in some other ways in recruiting, to say, hey, we've got somebody on our staff who played in the WNBA. That's somebody who would be working with you, but also let you know what it takes to get there. So I think there's a lot of benefits, and just she's a great human being too. I think that's a big part of it. It's really easy to approach and talk to, and a learner. So I think those things all matter.
Has Morgan quite gotten to the point with the miles yet where she'll pay for a charter flight this year? Or what?
The thing she's most worried about is the food, because when she went to China, I think she's a Crete, Nebraska meat and potatoes person, and I think when she got over to China the first time, she didn't like this, and this, and so I think she's going to be a little bit more prepared in terms of throwing some snacks in a backpack, and and it's a shorter trip, so I think it is a lot of travel. Like, she's on the way there, she's going to L.A., Hong Kong, Mongolia, and then coming back Hong Kong, San Francisco, Atlanta. That's a lot of, it's a little grueling. So even when she returns, so she leaves Friday night, comes back that following Sunday, we'll probably give her 3 or 4 days off to just kind of catch her legs and get right, time change, and just, she was worn out when she got back from that first China trip. So I feel like there'll be an acclimation kind of, again, when she gets back this time.
It's with Jalen, like, she's obviously a one-of-one, right? Like, the end of her career is something that no one that's ever put that jersey on has done before. But she also redshirted and didn't play her first year, and then won freshman of the year. Like, how much do you think her journey has the potential to resonate with every single type of player you could possibly bring in your gym, from the day one star to for the person who's just not getting minutes right away.
Yeah, because I've used her as an example sometimes in recruiting. I mean, somebody who ended up being the player of the year in the Big East Conference wasn't quite ready to play as a freshman, and even a few games into her second year, she was on track to not play a lot that year, and then we had an injury, and and she struggled. She had another year where she struggled through some injury to get to where she eventually got. So I think her story can be valuable, like you said, everywhere from the elite player to the freshman who's, how am I good enough to play here? Because that was Jalen her freshman year. Am I good enough to play here? And where she ended up is pretty significant. The other thing I wanted to emphasize really quick before Glenn gets me out of here is that there is some symmetry. So Chevy, assistant coach Chevy, was number 5. Jalen's number 5. Okay. Jordan Reese Plummer wore number 21 at Drake. Carly wore number 21 at Creighton. And then probably the biggest one is Connie, number 25 jersey, retired across the street. My home jersey my senior year as a walk-on was 25. I had 2 jerseys, one road, one home, because I wasn't quite good enough to have just one number. But we have a lot of symmetry in the staff now with 2 number 5s, 2 number 21s, and 2 number 25s. So that was the other reason I hired her.
I'd like to point out, you saved yourself by not putting the actual number of Connie's age out there. That was a
Big
wise
number.
choice.
I'm right behind her, so I can't. Yeah.
Good.
Anything further for Coach Flanery?
Good. Can I ask you something about
Sure.
Morgan?
Yeah.
I know this is the 4th time she played 3-on-3 since May, or
Yeah.
an event.
Yeah.
What are you kind of hoping she's picked up during the off season, or how do you feel like that's going to make her better when there's 4 more people on the court this winter?
Yeah, but I think the thing that's great about 3-on-3 is the shot clock is so short with 12 seconds. Like we almost never tell Morgan that was a bad shot, but there's even a value to having to play against the shot clock as frequently as you do in 3-on-3. Like you have to be ready to score every catch because you only have time for like 2 or 3 passes. So I think there's a value to that, being so ready to go make a play. And then you guard in space more, when it's 3-on-3, there's a little more pressure on you to guard one-on-one because you don't have as much help defense. So hopefully that's a benefit, having to guard a guard on the 3-point line without as much help, or guard a post even without any help because this floor is so spaced in 3-on-3 versus 5-on-5. So I think there's some defensive benefit too.
Just was going to ask you also, Big East Media Day was announced for late October. I know that's still a little bit of a ways away,
Yeah.
but is it starting to feel like basketball season? How excited are you for to get to the Garden and then get going?
Yeah. Well, just the weather being a little cooler in the mornings is like, okay, it's maybe getting closer. Because when it's 100, it doesn't feel like basketball season. But yeah, I think, we start practice in 3 weeks, which seems crazy early that we're starting in September when you used to start in mid-October. But and then, like you said, just having the media day not long after that. And I think we're scheduled to scrimmage at Kansas, close scrimmage at Kansas here, October 21st. So it's not that far. It's not that far away. And I know I have not been in the gym with our players since, just before the 4th of July. My assistant coaches have been in there with them in small group workouts and shooting stuff and whatever, but I kind of leave them alone. And so today will be my first time in the gym with them for 2 months. So I'm ready to go because I've had enough of a break, and hopefully they've had enough of a break from me.